Okay, so in our last video, we created a table of values. You see it on the screen. You may have noticed I had this Cartesian plane on the left, and that's because the next part of our question is, can we plot these points on the graph? So if you remember graphing, you have two axes. This is the x, horizontal. This is the y, vertical. In the middle, you have the origin, which is 0 for both x and y. So the x goes this way, the y goes up and down. Positive numbers to the right, negative to the left. Positive numbers up, negative down. All right? Evenly spaced so that you can draw accurately. So we're plotting these points on the graph. Now, which one of these is the x and which one is the y? Well, first of all, we have to think of which one of these variables depends on the other one. The price of your roses depends on how many you buy. You would think, all right, the more I buy, the higher the price. So because the price depends on the number of roses, we call that variable the dependent variable. The number of roses, therefore, is independent. And the standard way of writing it is always that the independent variable is your x and your dependent variable is your y. So the independent variable goes down here and the dependent variable goes up here. So number of roses on the x-axis, price on the y-axis. Okay, so how do we now plot these points? Well, we take each pair of points, like this one here, 0 and 0, and we find out where on the graph that would be. So 0, 0, that means x is 0, y is 0. So x is 0 on the x-axis, that's this point here. Y is 0 on the y-axis, that's also here. So it's the origin, 0, 0. So we put a point there. Next up, we have 1 and 1.5. So the x is 1. So if you look on the x-axis, you start from 0, here's 1. And then y is 1.5. So that's 1, that's 2. So it's halfway between there. So starting from the origin, you go to the right 1, that's positive 1. And then you go up 1, 1.5. And that's where your second point will be. Third point, 2 and 3. Start from the origin, go to 2, that's the x. Then go up 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember, this is 1 point, so it's going to be here. Then 3 and 4.5. So that's start from the origin, go 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, and then go up 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. And we do this for every point, and we're going to see we have 4, 6, 5, 7.5, 6, 9. We've plotted all those points.